Now, before I get into this video, I want to say that I love digital art. I think it's a great medium, and I've made many pieces on my drawing tablet that I'm genuinely proud of. Things that I'm about to discuss in today's video do not necessarily apply to everyone. So if you're a digital artist who simply enjoys what they do and don't feel the need to challenge themselves, keep doing it. Speaking about challenging yourself, the footage that you may or may not be watching on screen right now is me properly trying out a dip pen for the first time. And this is actually relevant to the topic, so don't click away yet. I decided to dive headfirst into one of my latest comic pages, and not gonna lie, I was shitting my pants a bit, because I've got so comfortable with my brush pen. Switching over to a dip pen felt like I had to start building those motor skills all over again. Except we're not starting all over again, we're leveling up, because dip pens are pretty much the final boss of drawing tools. They're insanely unforgiving and require a proper technique and a very steady hand. So when I finished this page and realized that it didn't look that great, I did not feel that same sense of despair that I felt when I started drawing traditionally again over a year ago. Because I know now that this is exactly where artistic growth happens. And that's going to be our segue to the topic of today's video. If dip pens really are the final boss of drawing tools, digital art would be the tutorial level, mainly because there's no stakes involved. If you mess up, you can just hit Ctrl-Z and start over again. It's a safe environment that doesn't really challenge you if you're not actually looking to be challenged. And this is great if you just want to relax and have some fun. Like I said, I've had plenty of fun with my drawing tablet. But for people who are actively looking to improve their art skills, this can become rather frustrating over time. The path you walk towards mastering any skill is usually not a straight line up. It tends to consist of periods where rapid growth happens, followed by a plateau that you're gonna have to break through by, you guessed it, actively challenging yourself again. And in my experience, the biggest plateau that I've been stuck at for literally years was caused by me not venturing outside of digital art. For years, I was struggling to make any kind of significant improvements, not knowing what the root cause of the problem was. It art blocked me so hard that at some point I was ready to accept that I was never going to make anything good ever again. Yet the solution was so easy. Or was it? That clip that I just showed you made me laugh so hard when I first saw it, because that's exactly what my drawing process used to look like when I was a digital artist. I would never get anything right the first try. I would draw and undo every single stroke at least 15 times. And I feel like this is a fairly universal experience among digital artists. And at some point you don't even notice you're doing it anymore because you've gotten so used to it. But believe me when I say that you really have no idea how much power that undo button has over you until you sit down and try to draw something nice with pen and paper. It's one of the biggest reasons why I did not want to give traditional art a chance for such a long time, because it confronted me with the fact that my hands were weak as fuck. I could not pull a straight line. My drawings were very insecure and chicken scratchy. And Ctrl-Z aside, with pen and paper I was also missing the transform and liquefy tool that I would abuse the absolute shit out of to make my drawings look good. Because my drawings were not good right out the gate. Now obviously it's completely normal to be exploring a bit during the sketching phase, because that's what sketching is for. But when you're spending a literal hour editing your initial drawing to hell and back, and you're just pushing and pulling at it, desperately trying to make it look right, chances are you actually have no idea what you're doing. You're just guessing and hoping it'll turn out the way you want to. And then when you do eventually create something that's actually good, imposter syndrome hits immediately, because you know you wouldn't be able to recreate that drawing a second time. And this is exactly why I wasn't making any improvements for so long. The problem here is that for someone who's still kind of weak in the art fundamentals department, digital art is very good at masking those weaknesses. Because you can make the shittiest drawing and endlessly tweak it until it looks good enough to make you forget that you actually kind of suck. And this might be kind of a controversial opinion, but I feel the same way about tracing from 3D models. But that might be a topic for another video. Like I said in the beginning, digital art is a safe environment with no stakes involved. But to improve your artistic fundamentals, you need stakes. And this is not just about being able to draw straight lines, it's also about really understanding what you're about to put on paper so you don't have to edit it afterwards. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to just switch to traditional art overnight. Like I said, there's a reason why I did not want to do it for such a long time. The pressure of not being able to significantly change or undo your drawing and being confronted with your weaknesses can be absolutely paralyzing. But as soon as you manage to overcome that paralysis and are no longer afraid to create some happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say, holy shit, it's not just going to change your art, it's going to change your life. I am not kidding when I say that overcoming this specific hurdle has made my deep-rooted fear of failure in all areas of life a lot more manageable. Now, of course, the big question that remains here is, how do I overcome this paralysis? This fear of messing up? Like I said, as soon as you overcome that hurdle, it gets a lot easier. But it's a big-ass hurdle. The first step is to put away the drawing tablet for a bit. I am not saying that you have to stop drawing digitally forever. But to overcome this hurdle, you need to remove the training wheels. You need to step out of that safe environment. And when you do that, say to yourself, I need this. This is important. This is going to make my art better. It's going to suck at first, but then it's going to get better. Really keep reminding yourself that taking risks and making mistakes is not just an option. It is required to improve your art. The next step is to really tune into the playfulness of traditional art. Don't just sit there with a blank piece of paper and pencil. This process is gonna suck so much harder if you're gonna do it that way. Mistakes are gonna be very painful and depressing. No, you need to pick up some pastels, or finally use those acrylic paints that have been sitting in the back of your closet for years. I actually revived these colored inks that have been sitting in the back of the closet for years. I originally bought them for airbrushing, but they've barely been touched. And I recently found out that acrylic inks are actually super fun to paint with. It's very similar to watercolor, but the colors are way more intense. I even splattered some ink all over my sketchbook and used that for a drawing. Yes, that is Gerard Way, thank you for asking. Making mistakes is so much more fun this way because you might even discover some really cool things that you normally wouldn't if you were playing it safe. And I really think that's a secret to not just improving your art, but to really enjoy the act of making art in the first place. Also, I think another very important element to this is to remind yourself that you do not have to share all of your artworks with everyone. I think that with social media, we all subconsciously have this feeling that we're being watched. I would watch a lot of sketchbook tours back in the day, and then when I would go and draw something in my own sketchbook, I felt like it had to look a certain way, as if I was going to post my own sketchbook tour when it was finished. And the last thing I want to say is that art is not about technical skill. I mean, if you reach the technical skill required to draw the things that you want to draw, you're already there. Some people might look at my art on the screen right now and think, this kind of sucks. And I really couldn't care less because I'm not aiming for concept art level semi-realistic anime. I mean, I do want to have a solid grip on anatomy, perspective, and 3D shapes, simply because I want to be able to draw my characters in any pose that I like in an environment that actually feels believable. And as soon as I really clarified this goal for myself, is when I could let go of the high expectations that have been imposed on me by both myself and the internet. And actually really, truly enjoy making art again. I'll show a finished result of my comic page on screen right now. I have cleaned it up a bit in Photoshop because I'm gonna print and sell this comic one day, so I do want to maintain a certain level of quality. The subject matter is kind of uncomfortable, but that's just my comic in general. If you want to read it, there's a link in the description down below. I really hope you enjoyed this video and felt inspired to maybe try something new. See you soon!